Hello and welcome to week 6 of personal branding. This week we're going to be doing a social media introduction, my favorite lecture because I also teach social media here at Cal State San Marcos. Some of you students I might have already had. If you're interested in social media, you could take it next semester with me or the other professor, I think it's Catherine Tricker. She's amazing as well. So, social media. What is social media? So it's defined as a form of electronic communication such as websites for social networking and microblogging, through which users create online communities to share information, ideas, personal messages, and other content such as videos. And this is just the exact definition out of the Webster Online 2017. So some questions to ask yourself here. What brands or companies do you follow? Which platforms do you follow these brands on? Do you have experience doing social media for a real company or a business? If so, which one, and what did you do? When is the last time you went without your phone? What were you doing without your phone? How long did you not have your phone for? Gosh, this is actually a really hard question for me to, just for me. I think I had my phone all day today with me today. I don't think I've gone without it for a while. Wow, yeah. So this is always a good question to ask. When was the last time you went without your phone? We're pretty much glued to our phones these days, aren't we? So the evolution of social media, here's some numbers for you. 66% of the world's population uses mobile devices. In 2015, time spent on mobile apps surpassed time spent watching TV for U.S. consumers. Mobile is a space that marketers must pay attention to, which, with everything been going on the last, or pretty much this whole year, every marketer is paying attention to social media now, right? Consumers are becoming content creators for brands on social media. User-generated content, or also referred to as UGC, which I'm sure you guys have heard this term pretty often. It refers to any digital content that is produced by end users of an online service or website. So think people out there who are using Facebook and Instagram and they're posting about your product or service. And then you take that content and get permission to repost it on your pages. So it's user-generated content. You're using content that's already been generated by a user of your product or service. So UGC is used to create opportunities for showcase brands and build customer relationships. In 2006, Frito-Lay leveraged UGC for its Doritos Crash the Super Bowl contest. Now, this was a long time ago, but UGC was already being used in 2006. Consumers invited to create a 30-second commercial to win a featured Super Bowl spot. I don't know if some of you guys remember this or not. A friend of mine actually applied for this contest. He didn't win, obviously, but it was pretty cool to see his video. 32,000 submissions received, over $7 million in prize money were awarded. So what happened with this campaign? Frito-Lay credits the campaign with helping to grow Doritos from a 1.54 billion U.S. brand in 2006 to a 2.2 billion brand in 2016. So 10 years later, that's how much they grew from using user-generated content. So some questions to ask you guys. Have you ever posted a brand's content on social media and tagged the brand? If so, what happened? Have you ever participated in a social media contest before? What did you have to do? What was the outcome? Have you ever made a purchase on social media from a brand, influencer, a friend's post, or from a sponsored ad? What was the product and how did you discover it? Maybe this last one here you've done a lot lately, right? With being stuck at home a lot more. You're shopping and seeing what your friends are doing. So here's an example of a UGC. I did this race called Broken Arrow last year in Squaw Valley. It was a huge, really popular race, pretty famous. And I wore these brands here, and this is a professional photograph that I purchased from the photographer. I did an Instagram post. I tagged these companies here. And then the company, Ink and Burn, which was the shorts I was wearing, they took my post and they reposted it. So it's user-generated content. The Running Center, which is the place where I bought these shorts, and they actually know me there. I'm a regular there at the Running Center because it's right here in Carlsbad. They reposted the same photo as well. Another example is these hydration packs I wear, Nathan Hydration. 2 different races here. This was the Spartan Beast in Montana last year, and this is when I ran the Grand Canyon 2 years ago, and I wore their packs. I did posts on my page, and they reposted both of them on the Nathan Sports social media pages. So user-generated content. They used my content to post on their pages. With my permission, of course. So, some of the social media metrics, and social media is a huge thing, obviously, we know that now, but for this course, I'm just really going over the basic overview since this is a personal branding course. But the basic social media metrics is a call to action, which we also call CTA, clicks, URL clicks, engagements, engagement rate, followers, mentions, and total reach. So an introduction to social media marketing, which is just another platform for marketing. It's just like print marketing, advertising marketing, email marketing, social media marketing, is the use of social media by marketers to increase brand awareness, identify key audiences, generate leads, and build meaningful relationships with customers. SMM centers around efforts to create engaging content that attracts, resonates with, and encourages readers to engage with and share that piece of content with their social networks. So it's all about resharing and getting it in front of many people's faces. Some of the benefits of social media marketing: increased exposure, brand awareness, increased traffic, brand loyalty, marketplace insight, lead generation, increased thought leadership, improved sales, time savings, reduced marketing costs, stronger customer experiences, owned, earned, and paid media. Some of the careers that you can find out there in social media marketing. There are so many different ones now. It's crazy. You have your social media coordinator, influencer manager, specialist, manager, director, content manager, editor, video producer, writer, digital media manager, paid social media strategist, bloggers, and community managers. So the bigger the company, the more positions they have. The smaller the company, you might have one person wearing all these hats, right? Or maybe you outsource. Maybe you were the social media director of a very small company and you outsource your video and you outsource your bloggers and you outsource your paid social media. So I see a lot of small companies doing that as well. So 9 skills that every social media manager must have these days is community management, creativity, organization, being able to adapt to changes quickly, especially, look what happened with COVID. Social media had to pivot, within 24 hours. Good writing skills, because you do write a lot of copy. Sales and customer service, strategic focus, decisive, analytics, and SEO driven. SEO, search engine optimization. How can social media help me? It builds relationships and community by generating discussion, brand awareness and discovery, announce achievements, school and business developments, increases website traffic or drive people to view your LinkedIn, providing value to your audience, and establishing your expertise. So just real quickly, I'm going to go over a few platforms here. We'll start with Facebook, for those of you who may not know. Longer, more informative posts. You link to other businesses or individuals by tagging. Sometimes this feature doesn't work from your mobile device, I've noticed, so you'll have to do it from a desktop. So if you ever see a social media feature not working from your phone, try it on a desktop and more than likely it'll work. Sharing articles, sharing other posts. Multiple photos are okay. You can create albums in Facebook, and whereas Instagram, it's stronger of a post to just post one good photo. Facebook, you can post many because you have that album feature. So here's a perfect example of a shared article. It's informative, gives value, but for some reason there was only one like. And this is a client that I was doing training for, and I had to teach them about how to engage with their partners and how to engage with their customers and their employees. If they have 30 employees working at Palomar Animal Hospital, there should be 30 likes here at a minimum. But it is a good example of a shared article, and it does give good information. This is a pet hospital. As temperatures heat up, the possibility of contracting Lyme disease increases, but dogs may be just the help we need to track the spread of the disease, and it has a great link. So it's a great post. This particular company, they just need to work on their engagement. So with Facebook, only use 1 to 4 hashtags, specific ones for that campaign only. Or don't use any hashtags. It's totally fine with Facebook. So you wouldn't want to use a hashtag like Oceanside. It would be too general. But you would want to use a hashtag like Oceanside Heart Walk because it's very specific. Now, this is for Facebook, not Instagram. Instagram hashtags are different, okay? Creating events. It's a great way to create events, boost events, share events in different groups. You can create public and private groups. And for example, for the Palomar Pet Hospital, I recommended to them to create some private and public Facebook groups to engage more because everybody loves talking about their pets and everyone always has vet questions. So why not create some Facebook groups to get some more followers, such as you can call it Palomar Patients or Pets of PAH. Here's a Facebook post from the San Marcos Chamber of Commerce. They had a really good one strong good image here. 3 companies involved were tagged. So the San Marcos Farmers Market, Rock the Rub, and Decoy. So there's 3 companies tagged in this post. So that means those 3 companies' followers were able to see this post as well. 3 hashtags that are specific to the event: San Marcos Chamber, San Marcos Farmers Market, and Rock the Rub. Facebook Messenger. It's sometimes the best way to take a conversation offline and continue it privately. So I recommend this for customer service. Think you work at a restaurant, you have a customer who's, blasting your page about the unhappy experience they had. You take the conversation offline and respond to them on the public forum. Hey, I would be happy to learn more about the experience you had and how we can learn and grow and moving forward. So why don't you send me an email, or why don't we talk in instant messenger? With Facebook, you want to post 3 to 5 times a week. That's the recommendation. Unless you have really good content, then you can post more. Also with Facebook, the algorithms have changed a lot. They really want you to pay for getting seen on different people's feeds. So Facebook wants money. They want you to boost. They want you to pay. So 3 to 5 times a week, that's totally up to people's budgets. But even if you did 2 times a week, it's not the end of the world, but you need to be consistent. Real quick with Instagram, they're short or long posts, either one. No links in post. You can only put 1 link at a time in the bio. However, there are third-party applications such as Linktree, where when you click on the 1 link in the bio, it opens up kind of like a landing page, like a website landing page, and you can have multiple links in there. That's called Linktree. You can use up to 30 hashtags, specific and general, so you could use Oceanside and Oceanside Heart Walk. Tag companies and individuals. 1 good quality photo is recommended, not a whole bunch. Try to stay away from collages. It's okay once in a while, but really you want 1 good quality photo. And that's the best way to use Instagram. So here's an example. This is an example of how a collage could work. So this is a perfect post. They didn't use that many hashtags, so it's recommended to this company use up to 30 hashtags. Okay to put in the main post or comments. So this is the vet, and he helped this puppy, and that's when the puppy was a puppy, and this is when the puppy was a big puppy. So it's a really cool comparison, and that's when a collage could work. Otherwise, you would just want 1 photo. And the caption says, "What a difference 5 months makes. Peanut isn't much of a peanut anymore, but he's still just as adorable." Great post. Using IG stories while at events for video. This is huge. And there's so many things you can do with IG stories. I mean, I could teach a whole lecture on just IG stories. So you want vertical photos work best for IG, although you can upload horizontal photos and add different things above them and underneath them. Stories disappear after 24 hours, so that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what the story is. However, if you like that story and you don't want it to go away, you can save it to your profile page under highlights. IG takeovers with ambassadors, influencers, and athletes, celebrities, that's a really good way to get people engaged. You want to post more on Instagram, recommended 4 to 8 times a week. Unless you have really good content, you can post more, 2 or 3 times a day if you have really good content. But really, anything that's multiple times a day is more of a Twitter thing. So here's an example of where the highlights are on your page here. I just have 2 video highlights here. This is my professional account. I have a running account that's totally separate as well. So Gianacom Marketing. It says really basic, what I am. 1 link in the bio. I now use Linktree, so my bio link goes to multiple links, but at this time, this is an old screenshot. It was a link to an event that I was promoting at the time. Twitter, short posts only. Share other content so you can retweet, sharing articles. You can post multiple photos, 3 to 6 hashtags, both specific and general. Hashtags can be in the sentence because you're only allowed a certain amount of characters in Twitter. You may only have room for 1 to 2 hashtags since there's a character limit. Great for engaging during events. Highly recommend to use at conferences or trade shows if you're in the business space. Find the hashtag for the event and get social. So a lot of the trade shows and conferences and events, when you show up and register, they tell you what hashtag to use. Even weddings are doing that now. Not sure if any of you guys have gone to a wedding recently, but in the past I've seen that. Okay, here's an example of a Twitter post, very short copy. This is for the endurance race series. They're using a graphic here, leg turnover, and it's just a really quick tip, running tip. Hashtags are Trail Tip Tuesday, Trail Tip, ERS events. Really short and sweet, good image, gives value to the audience because you're actually giving a running tip. So other things real basic about Twitter, I usually do a whole lecture on Twitter. You can participate in Twitter chats. I actually have my social media class do Twitter chats. Research one that fits in your demographic and industry. So say you want to learn more about social media, then you just look up social media Twitter chats. Maybe you want to learn more about running. You look up running Twitter chats. It could be about dogs. Any industry you can learn, there's a Twitter chat out there. It gives value and it shows your domain expertise if you are the one hosting the Twitter chat. You attending the Twitter chats, you can learn from experts. So there's always room to learn, right? It's okay to post multiple times a day if you have the content for it on Twitter. I mean, you can post multiple times a minute if you're fast enough. So some of the best practices for social media, especially right now, is to stay away from religion, politics, and controversial issues. With controversial issues, you're never going to please everyone. It's just the way it is. So I always recommend just to kind of stay away from it and don't do anything with politics because you're going to upset someone and you will lose followers, or it could start a Twitter war. Be careful of the holidays and using the words like Christmas and Easter. Instead, use happy holidays, happy spring, that sort of things. And you can Google the different things to say during the holiday time. Share content not only promoting your brand, but relevant content. You want to make sure that you're staying on relevant. I know I have a client who, when I first started working with them, they were a winery, and they would post different things on Instagram of them going out and bowling or golfing or doing things that had nothing to do with the winery at all. So I had to explain to them and teach them, hey, what does this have to do with your brand? It doesn't. That's something you post on your personal page, not on the business page. So being able to making that separation. You want to always monitor engagement, respond to others, and always keep it professional. Don't be fighting with people on social media. Even if you delete it later, someone has already taken a screenshot of it. It does not go away. Ask questions. It's a great way to engage with people. People love to chime in and give their opinion, right? Or maybe they ask additional questions after you ask a question. You can use polls on Facebook and in groups. Branding and consistency. Use the same fonts, colors, and high-quality logos on all of your channels. Use the same templates for all graphics. Always create event Facebook covers or have a high-quality image. You can make these Facebook covers in Canva. Description, bios, and hashtags must be consistent. Be consistent in posting. So even if it's 2 times a week or 3 times a week, stick with it. Don't just die off and come back later. Be aware of the time and day that you post. Test this. Maybe it's 7 p.m. that works best. Maybe 12 p.m., 6 p.m. And that's why you have analytics that you can look at later. Graphics have the same templates. So using graphics, you again use Canva for this. Here's a page that I was doing for a gym. And every Monday we had a tip. So we would use a graphic template and it would just change the tip name. Always strong, good images. We didn't post any bad images. Another thing I recommend is doing a social media audit. You want to do this not only for businesses, but for yourself, for personal audits, okay? So some audit tips. Don't post or like questionable material. Err on the side of silence. Be boring if you must. If you like to be entertaining, post in a private chat among friends instead. Don't just blast to the whole world, especially if you've been drinking, okay? Warning to college students. Again, if you delete it later, someone's already seen it, someone's already screenshotted it. It's not going away. Even if your past content isn't offensive, it could still be harmful for your image. Remember, you're trying to get a job now, right? You don't want to appear angry, immature, inarticulate, thoughtless, obnoxious, or judgmental. You certainly don't want to give off the vibe that you're potentially unstable, unprofessional, or unreliable. Even if you think, oh, my social media accounts, they're all private. Companies find ways to look at them. It doesn't matter if they're private or public. And it's not even legal for human resources to look at you up on social media, but I'm telling you on experience and knowing hiring managers myself, and they will admit it to you. They look you up on social media anyways. So be careful. Start auditing your social media channels now and delete anything that is questionable or bad. So all those party pictures, guys, delete them. When in doubt, delete. Book time in your calendar for personal audits. So don't just do this once, but do it on a regular basis. Set a reminder, whether it's monthly, quarterly, or annually, to go through all your accounts and review your activities on each platform. Update photos as needed. Make sure it's the most recent picture of you. Fix typos and delete accounts that are not applicable anymore. So say you have a couple old Twitter accounts that you don't even use. You may as well make them inactive or delete them. 70% of employers use social media to vet and screen and weed out candidates, okay? Even though it's not legal, it's done anyway, so be careful. Learn from those who have been caught. So, how many times have we seen stars get busted for something offensive, hateful, or asinine they posted a long time ago, right? We've all seen it in the news. It happens to athletes all the time. You don't have to be in the public eye to get busted, okay? It can happen to anyone. So here is a story about Justine Sacco. If you don't remember the story, this is a clickable link. So go ahead and read about it. How about all these folks who lost their jobs because of the social media numbskullery? So if you don't remember that story, click on the link there. According to Career Builder survey, the top 5 reasons why candidates don't get hired due to their social media accounts are posting provocative or inappropriate photographs or information. Keep it professional, okay? Posting information about them drinking or using drugs. Delete them. Take them off. Bad-mouthing their previous company or fellow employees. Poor communication skills, especially important for those seeking careers in communications. Discriminatory comments related to race, gender, or religion. Keep this slide in mind and review these. Audit your social media accounts. Do it this week. That's my biggest advice to you. All right, so that's what we got on social media for week 6. Hope you guys have a great week. Email me if you have any questions.